What if the secret to soaring higher is actually found in slowing down? In today's episode and interview, we explore this concept with a remarkable guest, a seasoned tech entrepreneur, acclaimed author, and advocate for women in technology, Amelia D'Anzika. She has successfully built and sold multiple companies, and today she shares not only her expertise, but also the mindset shifts that helped her scale and exit two companies while raising a family and growing as a leader. And find out why, when she's not working, you can find her in the dirt. So stay tuned. This podcast is brought to you by DJ Works Media and HalftimeSuccess.com, offering resources and insights for those at mid-career or the halftime of life. Explore our diverse categories, including courses, coaching, health, music, software, and travel. We're here to help you make this stage of life your best ever. So get our new articles, downloads, and podcasts by signing up for weekly updates at goalsforyourlife.com/newsletter. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Well, I'm very excited to have Amelia with us today, and thank you for joining us. We're going to have a wonderful conversation. And I really like our guests. I've given you a little bit of an intro, but we focus at mid-career, halftime of life, helping people move on. And this is called Women at Halftime, not just for women. Men listen too, which is wonderful because my husband's on once a month, and so you want to be able to hear from him. But we're helping people move on, and tech is a big deal, especially for women. We don't want to be scared about it. We don't want to be scared about AI. There's a lot of tools we can use. So give us a little bit of your background, Emilia, and you speak a lot and teach with women in tech, and what really attracted me was that you have sold two companies successfully and with an exit strategy. And so that's all very interesting. And so we're going to tell some of that story today. So why don't you tell a little bit of your background first and why you're in the field you're in?
Okay, thanks so much for having me, Deborah. And I think it will be interesting for the audience. How did we even meet? What brings us together, and what my background and what you and I have in common is that we both graduated from Heroic, which is a public speaking company based on the East Coast. So you and I both flew there several times a month, worked on our speaking and really improving that. And that really helped me personally, especially given that my background and what I do in tech, you're expected to be in front of people all day speaking about what you do and how you can help them. So I've spent 25 plus years now in tech in predominantly Silicon Valley, but I've worked in India, Thailand, New Zealand, Australia, and then in Europe. I lived in Copenhagen for 6 months, and in Rome for a year, Versailles for 3 months, and I've traveled and worked in the Middle East, including Israel. So always spent my career in tech, helping software as a service companies grow their customer strategy. So once you sell a product to a company, how do you keep them coming back? Just like you and I are on Zoom today, how do you make them a paying customer and then renewing with you versus another product? And so it's been incredibly fulfilling, especially as a woman. Tech continues to be dominated by men. And my mission, I wrote a book with my co-author 3 years ago. It's hard to believe, pressing on as a tech mom. And we really amplified the voices of over 300 women who we did research on, and we feature 12 of them in the book. And so that's really, now that I've sold my companies, I'm taking a little break, but still teaching at Booth Business School as an instructor on customer lifecycle management. And I'm doing some teaching privately with companies and coaching executives. So that's currently what I'm doing.
Wow. such a fun background. And subscription as a service, that's when we see those SaaS, SaaS, and people are wondering, what is that? What is that? So, but it's a big deal because it's residual income. And it keeps coming, and to be able to keep your customer base is a really big deal. And so that's a important service that you've had to help people do that. So you've had this. What are some of the pivotal moments that you've had? I want to get to a couple of these things because I deal with a lot of women just almost a little scared, uh, especially when we talk about AI, with it. Oh, it's a big monster. All we've seen on, movies are all, the robots walking and taking over the world. And we're thinking, okay, where is that? But it's really a help there. But also, how is that going to affect the SaaS business, the subscription as a service, and the tech with women?
Yes. So I think the more you embrace AI, I know Google, NVIDIA, so many companies, LinkedIn, Learning, they offer free AI courses. And so there's no reason to be afraid of it. YouTube even, get online, learn how to use things like Chat GPT to your advantage. The more prescriptive you are, the better. Always check its sources. It's not perfect. It's not going to write your proposals perfectly. You always have to make them your voice, of course. But I think embracing AI, even as I was launching my new brand, Amelia Speaks CX, I went and leveraged AI to create all my images. I don't have time. I'm not going to go get in front of a photographer and change a bunch of outfits and pretend people are behind me and things that aren't real. And so leveraging AI to create the images I wanted with the backgrounds I wanted are helping me now create this new brand. So simple things like that, it's an investment of less than $100 that you can create hundreds of images. Those simple little things. And then, like I said, learning to leverage Chat GPT can save you so much time. Just even creating a schedule for yourself, or if you have goals you want to achieve, leveraging AI to help you set up small goals to get to that bigger step is really important. And I even think back to 2020, when I was laid off as a chief customer officer after I'd just laid off more than half my team. It was, really hard first on your ego, no matter what, even if you know it's coming, it still hurts. And especially for women in tech, I'm in my 40s, be thinking, wow, will someone hire me again? I'm no longer 25, So I think back to that time, and while AI existed, it wasn't accessible the way it was today. And so that was really a pivotal moment. What do I want to do with my life? Do I feel burnt out, insecure? How am I going to get over these feelings and find something I'm passionate about and start it? So taking that time to really think about it instead of rushing into another job was probably the most pivotal moment in my career.
And that really fits with the title of this, slowing down to soar, because really pivotal moment. And it's hard. Um, I'm a type A personality, and it's hard to slow down. And
It
you're
is.
just always going, but just to stop for a moment and say, and ask those important questions. And I love it that you asked at that age 40 of what you're going to do, because there are a lot of people at that stage. Officially, so the internet says, half time of life is at 40. I think it's more like 45-ish, something like that. But it comes really, really fast. And when you're 20, you don't realize how fast, but all of a sudden you're 40. So, and you've got life responsibilities and everything else. And so asking those questions that you asked yourself, will anybody hire me? Anybody want it? Know what, what is my experience? How valuable really is it? And especially now thinking, okay, well, is computer going to do all the work I normally do? No. There's a lot of areas where it's not. And so, but you have to realize, I love it how you said checking sources too. That is a great story of a really pivotal moment. I think that's really important. Hopefully, people are really listening to that. You talk about the customer life cycle management. Okay. So, if anyone who is an entrepreneur, you are concerned about this because you want to keep those clients, especially if you're a solopreneur or entrepreneurial type of small business. Those customers are important. And it's not just in coaching. Some people have coaching clients and they try to keep them forever, which I think is bad anyway. I think people need to move on. It's time to move on. But when you talk about that life cycle management, what do you the future in that? Is the SaaS the model still going to hold, or what do you see as in your field?
Right now, what I'm seeing is companies are trying to understand how to embrace it to serve more people in a way that they can serve themselves. So, as a mother of active teenagers, I find myself doing a variety of different things. I volunteer. I'm an entrepreneur. I In my background is a beautiful, huge garden that I plant seeds in, and I spend a lot of time in the dirt thinking. I feel like it is a huge source of my ideas and innovation, spending time, like you said, slowing down to go fast. Because when I come in from those therapy sessions getting dirty, I feel like I always have a book beside me ready to write all the things I just thought about. And so I think AI is helping people like you and me be able to leverage a service when we want to leverage it. So being able to use a service at 9:30 at night or 4 in the morning, those are the two times, I don't know, I find there's great serenity. People are asleep. They're not near me. No one's asking me for anything. And I'm able to log into a system or do the things I want to do. And AI is allowing me to do that because if I get stuck, there's a prompt there to guide me through it. And that's where companies will win. Are they able to leverage this generative artificial intelligence to help people that when they want to be helped? And the more they embrace it thoughtfully with a customer experience that is positive, the more likely they're going to get ahead. What AI won't replace is the thing like human touch, which you said is someone asked me for a coaching session last week about they were feeling stuck with their idea and she was going down this path. And I stopped her. I said, have you discussed with your current coach why you're suddenly now deviating? This sounds like self-doubt. Those kind of conversations AI isn't going to be able to have for you. And so really grounding yourself and accepting, I find great gratification talking to people. And I think that human element is not going to be replaced. And it's the same thing for software as a service. Those white glove clients are not going to go away and they're going to demand that one-to-one touch. Also the brick and mortar, things like a mattress. I was just talking to my sister. She said, I bought this amazing mattress. It was so seamless and easy, and I could check off. I wanted the white glove service. I want them to set everything up and take my old thing away and donate what they can and get rid of the rest. And she paid a premium for it. Those kind of things AI can't replace right now. And that's okay because people are willing to pay for that white touch.
I totally agree. I think, yeah, the human element, that's, and there's jokes. I mean, we've seen the TV shows, which I love watching some of the comedy shows and where, the character will um, have a girlfriend that's Siri. Her name is Siri. She talks to me all the time. But yeah, it's not going to replace that human element. And I also love when you mentioned 9:30 at night and 4 in the morning. I tell you what, that's my schedule. So I am up early. I love the quiet. My kids are launched. I'm at a little different stage of life than you are, but they're out. But I love that early morning. I get a lot of things done. I work out early too. Just it's my time there, and then I'm done. Or I go to bed early, but I read. But you have that sort of option
Mhm.
of, getting online, getting some of those thoughts down. And of course, being in the dirt too. I'm always outside. So
Yeah.
with a pair of clippers in my hand usually. So, but you need to find something that
Right.
you can yeah, let not just be focused on a work that is in front of you on a computer. So I love that. And also just a couple points that you made are just very important. Hopefully they will be encouraged. People will be encouraged with that, because I'm definitely encouraged with that. I think there's really a place for that, imposter syndrome, the self-doubt, all of that, working through that and then using the tools how we can. So let's talk about those companies. What companies did you put together, first of all? And then how did you scale? Always interested in that. And then to exit is just, those are huge decisions to make, to letting your baby go. So, what kind of companies were they first? I'm assuming they were in tech.
Yes. So after I was laid off or fired of whatever you want to call it, at the time I was 42. The first time in 2018, I think I went into such shock. I just really it was painful. They said, "We want fresh blood in your position." I hadn't done anything wrong. I'd achieved or overachieved all my KPIs for 13 quarters. And I just was so demoralized and really spent the summer thinking about what I wanted to do. And I started freelancing and consulting for consulting firms in tech. So I worked for three. And then in 2020, I just said, I want to do my own thing. And I really want to specialize in customer experience, in advisory work. And I put myself out there on LinkedIn, launched a brand with the help of some consultants that I hired, like MIT students, just students online that I could afford at the time, to build my website and help me with my messaging. And once I started getting clients, it was going pretty quickly and I was really excited. I started bringing on more consultants to help me, and I would pay them. I was very transparent with pricing. I wanted people to feel like they had skin in the game. So I didn't want to pay them the way I had been paid by some of these other consulting firm, where I really felt like my time, they were using my content under their brand and not necessarily telling the clients. I thought, I never want to make people feel like that. And so I think that was one of the unique differentiators that I offered, is anyone who worked under the brand, the company's growth molecules. Now it's called Growth Molecules CX by the company who acquired the advisory firm. They do tech advisory and customer experience, customer lifecycle management advisory for tech firms globally. Everyone I brought in, I really made them feel part of the organization and paid them fairly. I think that makes a huge difference. The second thing, there are about four people that were foundational to the brand, and I gave them phantom shares so that when I sold the company, they received part of the success, right? I think that's really
That's neat.
important. The second company I launched as a result of the first one was the Growth Molecules Academy. So customer success training, account management training, leadership training, support training and coaching. SBI Growth, another sales academy company, purchased that brand. I held on to the leadership and support training. I plan to keep doing that for companies, and I plan to keep speaking and coaching. But they bought the CS Foundations Academy. And to me, that was that was the time when they approached me in December 2024. It was serendipitous. Both companies approached me to buy different entities, and I was very transparent with both. And over the course of 3 months, we negotiated them. For anyone going through this, get a good lawyer. I had a great lawyer. I can't say I had a great lawyer helping me set up my company. They made a lot of mistakes. I was new at doing all of this. I don't have regrets. I learned from it. The next company I launch, I won't be using that company and I will be smarter about it. But I think getting a good lawyer, getting a coach, I had a coach out of New York. He was fabulous. And like you said earlier, Deborah, I worked with him for about a year. And then I said, you know what? I think I got everything I needed from you. I appreciate you. He was one of the people I gave phantom shares to. I just couldn't afford his rate. So he gave me a reduced rate and I gave him some shares. He obviously believed in me because he agreed to this trade. And it felt really good to write that check last week and say thank you. Right. So if you want to scale and you want to grow your company, one, you have to believe in yourself. Two, you have to surround yourself with smart people that are going to do things so that you can focus on what you're really passionate about. Yes, I could have done those other things, but not as well as them. I wanted to focus on what I was really good at. And then three, make sure you pay people fairly so that they stick around. I think those were the three main elements that helped me really launch, scale, and sell both organizations.
Great story. And to be able to do that successfully is, and I love it that you had such good legal help there, especially at the, end, which is important, to make sure everything goes through and the check's clear and, all of that. That's important to be able to pay people off. So, great advice. And, I mean, these were definitely in your specific field. So, do you know what's next, or do you have any ideas yet? Has anything come to you as you were gardening and you're gardening in the dirt?
Yeah. I mean, if it was up to my partner, he'd love for me to just chill out and stop traveling so much for a year and really think about what I want to do. Last year, especially, I traveled so much. I joked that my family was going to divorce me or the doors would all be locked one day, because I just felt like I was becoming a road warrior and it just didn't feel good. I'm really enjoying being at home more and just spending more time. I'm a CASA. So I work with one child at a time, going through the juvenile foster care system and getting ready to go to court. That's been really gratifying. I'm volunteering at my child's high school, and helping my college child get ready for summer internship and moving her. But in terms of work, I will continue to keep teaching at Booth Business School as long as they keep inviting me back. It's such a rewarding job to work with these CFOs. It's a program specifically designed for chief revenue officers, CROs.
CROs, right.
And that's been really rewarding for me. And I don't know right now. I could do more coaching and training leaders. I really find that rewarding. I will be doing a workshop in June, which I'm looking forward to with a company in Minneapolis. But if it was up to me, I would be a spin and health instructor. I love doing all the challenges at my health club, and I love all the music and motivation and making people feel good about what's inside their bodies and how they're producing energy. Because I believe that if you're healthy inside, mentally, physically, and nurturing your body, you're just such a better human for everyone around you. And you're able to focus more and help others. And I think that's really interesting to me. So right now I'm just exploring and enjoying this time that I really almost feel guilty having, because I've just been working honestly 7 days a week
Mm.
for many, many years, not even really truly taking a vacation, always getting scorned because I had a computer in front of me at the pool and not being able to relax. So I'm just trying to embrace some more focused time of like not worrying about a business or people or a client. Are they happy? So it's just been
Yeah.
really nice to chill out.
That's neat to hear. So, yeah, I mean, you're driven. So, and when you have responsibilities, there's deadlines, and so yeah, it's funny when people say, "Oh, we know you're always busy." So it's like I hate to be known as always busy. I mean, but
Exactly.
it's I mean, well, I always do have something going. I mean, what else are you going to do? So, but yeah, it's great. And in fact, I was just with a friend yesterday, and she's retired now from being an eye doctor for years. And she's working with foster care. She says, I've always wanted to do this. And this is the perfect question to ask yourself. And when you are at some of those crossroads, it's okay. It's okay. You can give time. How much money do you really need to make? Enjoy what you're doing, and really, lifestyle is a big deal at that stage of life, especially because we're all on the train. And,
Yes.
okay, so, but you're younger. But I mean, none of us know. None of us know. I mean, there's stuff that happens every day that it could be any of us. So we just really want to live purposeful and significantly and have that are we going to make a difference somewhere? And so those are good questions to ask. And I love it that you're asking those and that you're able to pursue some of those. And I tell you, I do talk to a lot of people who'd love to be in the arts, who have been, oh, I've always wanted to do the music. In fact, I talked to somebody else again yesterday that was like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to do the music, but I was in the medical field or I was in this. So, because they think, because I've been a musician for so many years, it's like, oh gosh, you got to live your dream. And I said, well, yeah, I worked hard. I worked really, really hard to keep living the dream. So what is you've got, we put down on, like, talked about a couple questions that I could ask you. Do you have some sort of an unexpected leadership lesson? And this could be self-leadership as well. I think self-leadership is extremely important. It's discounted sometimes. So, but what sort of leadership lesson was kind of an unexpected that you have learned?
I believe the most important one, and I think it's from not only being a leader, but also having leaders that I really looked up to and others that are the reason why I left great jobs. And that
Mm,
is the art of listening.
mm,
And not enough leaders just
mm,
pause and listen to what their team and their clients are saying.
mm,
They're always all automatically thinking about what they're going to say. And that is not active listening.
mm,
And so if you're able to master listening, not interrupting people, it will not only make you a better leader, it will give you time to reflect before you reply. And it is 100% okay to say to someone, I'm hearing what you're saying. I want to repeat it back to you,
mm,
but right now I don't have an answer. I'd like to think about the
mm,
feedback you just gave me or the questions you gave me and come back to you with something more intentional so that we can have a better conversation, especially if you're upset or you're offended or you fundamentally disagree with someone.
mhm,
Taking that time to pause and reflect on what that person said and really mirror back what they just said to you
mm,
and agree that you're going to meet again at another time. I had one leader, I asked for a raise, I brought the stats, all the things. He finally put something on my calendar, was ready to talk about it, and continued after that to cancel, reschedule for 3 months. That just didn't feel good. I
yeah,
started taking the calls for another job, and I couldn't wait to
mhm,
get out of there. I just realized this person didn't hear me, was putting it off. It wasn't important to that person. And I know my value. And so having the ability to listen is important. And me growing up in an Italian household, my parents had 6 children. There was a lot of begging for attention. We had a pizzeria, so my parents were always working, plus trying to raise us. We were all taking turns working in the restaurant, and everyone's always yelling or trying to get attention, cutting people off. So I grew up in that environment. And then I worked for an Israeli company for 3 years. And that was a completely different culture. I was schooled in Canada. Then I came to the United States. All of these different cultures of different ways of communicating, and really pausing and not cutting people off was something I had to work on. Like, yeah, I get it. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. You can't do that. It hurts people if they're really excited or spent a lot of time crafting their message to you. Just pause and take the time to listen to them. That's my number one advice for great leadership.
Wow. Wow. I love that. I think that applies in so many areas, Amelia. I've been married. My husband and I have been married for 45 years. And I mean, it's just, we look at it and think, it's been a long time. We actually made it. But learning to listen or learning to say exactly what you said, with a colleague, of just saying, I think you said this. Am I understanding that right? Or I need to think about that. Or can we come back later with, kind of cool off a little bit? I can't tell you how many times that has happened, or that I've just needed to shut my mouth and just say, okay, I don't want to say the stuff I'm thinking right now, because it will not it will not go over really well. So, I think learning to listen and understand, am I understanding what you're saying? Am I really, is that how you feel? Is that, where you're at? So you were really interpreting that one boss by him canceling the meetings. You knew exactly that message. He just didn't want to deal with it. He didn't want to give you the praise. He didn't want to, he wanted to control. There's a lot of control issues out there right now. So always has been, but in different ways all the time. And we can feel that. So yeah, very good advice. I think it's hard though, isn't it?
It's hard.
It is hard when you're like, the mind is just keep going. I had to do the same thing too with our sons, with kids, and with spouses. There's a moment that I just, the way they're raising their kids, it's like, okay, hey.
Bite your
So
tongue.
Yeah, that's where prayer comes in. I tell you, that's where that comes in. So yeah, bite the tongue it's constant, I think. So I remember my dad, he was such, and I was born in the South. So, he's got that, but he would just nod his head. I'd call it the denim bob. He did just, and I'm thinking, all of that was just who knows what he was thinking, and he just was keeping his mouth shut about all the harebrained things that we were doing. So yeah, really, really great advice. Great advice. So in leadership, I mean, and in the self-leadership too. Well, anything else that you want to add here? I loved that we got to playing in the dirt, because I think that gives such a good perspective on life, of just being able to get away somewhere, find some place, some activity that will let you not think about work. That, I mean, you do anyway, you are anyway, but stuff comes in those moments. And being outside is one of those moments for me too, with those clippers in my hand, and I kind of joke about it, but then people love it when I make jam and when I'm making pies. But it's something, a totally different perspective that you get. And I'm so glad you're taking time to do that, and you're thinking through travel schedule. Raising our kids are important. You've got teenagers. How old are your kids?
I have a soon to be 14-year-old and I have a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
So both in so many activities and very active. And uh, I always say, don't check out when your children get older. Check in and lean in more because they need you
Yes.
more than you can imagine, but they may not have the courage to say it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
just being present for them and checking in, they will appreciate it. And one day they will open up and tell you what's really going on and how they need you to be there for them. And just sometimes it's just listening, like, Mom, I'm sad. I don't know why. I'm just feeling sad.
Mm.
And being a listening, someone to just listen and not judge, not say, what you have everything you could ever want, all the things to make them feel bad about it, but rather this is an emotion. You're feeling an emotion right now.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
okay. If we were just always happy, how would we really embrace life? You wouldn't have any other emotion.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel sadness and
Mhm.
think, reflect on what am I grateful for today? What can I do to feel better? Who can I
Yes.
call? Those
Yeah.
kind of things are really important. And especially in today's society, it just feels constant news coming and
Yes.
chaos and being able to step aside. I go to the park every morning. That's where I was this morning with my dog. Then I take my daughter to school and just have that time to just think and not have the news going or not have anyone talking to me and seeing the same faces that go around the park every day, probably doing the same thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's just like a nice feeling of like, ah, just thinking, might be thinking of, I'm sad right now, and I'm just going to go through the feeling. It's part of life. I think
Yeah.
that's really important.
Oh, it's great. And I love it that you're leaning in even more. I tell you, raising kids, I think if people really knew what was involved, I don't know how many kids there would be
Yeah.
in the world. I mean, it's like once those babies come, oh boy, you know, it's all the way through. But what a joy. It really is a joy. But yet, and your job's not over. And I still remember telling my husband, so thankful for him because I think we need strong men for sons
Mhm.
in our world. I mean, we really do. They need some sort of role model. And he was kind of feeling like once, they were out of the house, our job was kind of done. I said, oh, no, 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 no. I think they even, and it's true because now they're dealing with their relationships, they're dealing with their life changes with work and with some of the things that now your experience of your work that you've done, sharing that with your kids, going, I know what it feels like to be fired. I know what it feels like to do that. And
Mhm.
you need to be able to have some of those conversations and to be around enough. And I always say they talk more when you're in the car than any place. Wait, or when you're on a walk, if you're walking the dog. There's those times, and so I learned more about my kids when I was carpooling them somewhere. And it's
Mhm.
like, and then their friends were together. I'm thinking, I had no idea they were doing that. I don't know. Like, so,
Right.
and so it's a really, really good time. So don't discount those. So thank you for sharing. Well, what are some words of advice if you were to I want you to give your contact information as well. And those will be
Sure.
show notes for anybody too. So they'll be able to contact you and to see what you're doing and all the wonderful things and about your book. But what is a word of advice that you would say if someone's listening, they're going, I loved this conversation. I don't want to be afraid of all of this tech and all of this coming up. What sort of advice would you have though, besides the listening and some of the other things, the little nuggets that you've given us in this interview?
If you want me to use one word, it's courage.
Mhm.
I think so many people are afraid of trying something new or launching a brand or charging an increased rate. I I remember a woman pulling me aside when I first started consulting. She said, Amelia, you're charging way too low. And the worst part is women in general charge 30% lower than men. You need to step up,
Wow.
believe in yourself more, and immediately add 30%, if not more, because you're charging too low. You don't
Right.
believe in yourself. And so for me, it was having the courage to share new pricing and not say anything, not offer an immediate discount or discount who you are, what you're worth, or what you bring to the table. And then that feeling of, they said, okay, send me the paperwork. And me going, what? Wow, I didn't even negotiate. They believe I'm worth this.
Mhm.
Uh, that took so much courage. I mean, I think of all the difficult conversations I've had, and I teach this course around difficult conversations, um, the art of no jitsu, and how hard it is to say no to people, and you can still do it with kindness. You don't have to express anger or annoyance, and that takes courage.
Mm.
And so if I was to give women especially advice, those listening, have the courage to have a difficult conversation without being angry or
Mhm.
resentful or feeling guilty.
Mhm.
And if
Wow.
you have the courage to do that, or you have the courage to believe in yourself, work on a business plan at night, start
Mhm.
slowly, one day at a time, one step at a time, and then reflect back. Like
Mm.
reflect back every end of each week, give gratitude for the small steps you took, and then watch it over a month and a quarter and a year, see what happens. Just like those seeds we talked about in our gardens, watch what happens as they grow. It will become eventually
Yeah.
exponential.
Wow. And that's what AI growth is anyway, it's exponential. And that's what our lives, all of these little areas can be just multiplying upon themselves. And so, but just little by little, tiny steps. Those are important because they're not overwhelming. You just need to, and AI can help you put those steps together, by the way. We have talked about that today. But get your goal out there and let it divide it up for you and give you small steps. Thank you so much. So give us the information. If people are just listening, that they'll get the information, but they can see it in the show notes as well. How to contact you.
You bet. You can contact me on LinkedIn, or you can email me. It's just my first name, Amelia, at ameliaspeakscx.com. And
Perfect.
I'd love to hear from your audience.
Good, good, good.
Mm.
Well, we'll post this everywhere as well, and to make sure people have that. So, Amelia, this has been fantastic. So much fun that we were able to connect in this way. And of course, I'm very interested in women in tech, and I'm not officially in the tech field, but I have worked with tech forever. It feels like with music production and with
Yeah.
my office, with my studio, and with all of the projects that I've put out. And I've dealt with it enough to know you don't want to be scared about it, but you have to be patient. There's stuff that happens. We were just talking about that today, about the gremlins. They're always out. They're always out. There's always a little something, and you can't just say, "Oh, I'm not good at tech anymore." No, I can manage it. That is the right response. You've got to be able to manage it. So, anyway, thank you so much. It was a wonderful conversation. And I love talking about the SaaS area as well, and about the personal touch, because, of course, I have interviewed those who have these SaaS fields, specifically SaaS fields. And so, what is ahead for them? And I think that human touch is so very important. And so, hopefully, that encourages some that field a little bit more as well. So, thanks again, and I will look forward. I'm here at least once a week, sometimes a couple times, and with some of our bonus podcasts. So it's fun to see you all. And we focus on helping people in mid-career, half-time of life. Make sure you're getting our newsletters, everything else that you are, and because you won't miss a single episode if you get to do that, and you know what's coming. I try to just really inform people of what's coming. So thanks again, Amelia, for joining us. And thank you all for tuning in. And I'll see you all next time. So bye for now. Thank you for joining us. It is because of our wonderful listeners like you that we keep going strong week after week. We'd love it if you'd share and follow us to not miss a single show, and even write a review. You can also find all of our articles, products, and links at womenathalftime.com.